Okay, so welcome everybody, and to this session on using WeBWorK with URcourses, and we're just going to get right to it. I'll hand it over to Robert to go right into it. Robert?
All right. Hi, folks. I'm Robert Petry, and I just wanted to do an introductory talk about how to use WeBWorK at the University of Regina. A little bit of history. I was looking at this WeBWorK software, which is software for fairly advanced software for doing math and physics type problems with students. It's quite sophisticated with allowing you to enter functions and vectors and matrices. And there's also a large library of problems that comes with WeBWorK. And so before the pandemic hit, I was just looking into this as a mechanism for augmenting what I do in my courses. And then the pandemic hit, and then we had to do a lot more online. And because of that, I realized that we should support this across the math department and beyond. So I set up some servers for people to use. And so many of the faculty were using it over the last couple of years of the pandemic. And now that we realize it's pretty useful, the IT folks at the University of Regina are now supporting it. So it's no longer running on my servers, it is running on their servers. So now that we've got what presumably is a long-term commitment to this, I think it's worth looking at supporting it a bit with my talk today. So my talk today is going to sort of assume no knowledge. It might sound kind of complicated, but any piece of software that is designed to do the kind of thing that WeBWorK does, I mean, there is a level of complication that goes with that. So hopefully through this whole video, you'll decide whether or not you think it's something you'd like to use at some point. And if you do, then I'll have shown you all the steps to make it work at the University of Regina. So without further ado, then I think I'm going to share my screen and take us to the University of Regina's documentation. So this is a documentation page. It was originally created for my servers. It's in the process, it's being changed and updated for the current servers at the University of Regina. And so sections might get relabeled as we go through this or whatever, but essentially the first thing you want to do if you want to use WeBWorK is you need your course set up at the University of Regina. So there's a section here, currently it's section 2 of the documentation that tells you how to request a course. Going forward, you're probably going to get an announcement before each semester asking if you want this sort of thing. And then you just fill out a ticket and make a request for a course to be set up for you. And then an email gets sent out to you with information about your course. So all this is in the documentation. And the link for the documentation is, I'm not sure if you can read this, webwork1.cc.uregina.ca, webworkinstructornotes.html. That would probably be an email that you would be sent. All right, so once that occurs, you will want to log into your course. So WeBWorK is sitting on different computers than URcourses is. The two servers, the two systems kind of talk to each other. And so once you have a course set up, you can click on the WeBWorK link and go to your course. So I'm going to just click on that. Here's a list of all the courses currently on the server. I have a little test course here. I'm going to go click on that. I'm going to use that today. It takes you to this login screen. This is your usual login. All right, so here's my empty course. There's nothing in it. On the left-hand side, you can kind of see a little menu. The top 4 items, courses, which is where I just was, and then I clicked on my course. And then there are homework sets. I don't currently have any assigned to me, user settings and grades. So that's those top items are what the student would typically see. And then you as an instructor have all these other items that you have access to. Okay, so and hopefully through today, I will have taken you through many of those. Now, this is because it's through a web server, I can increase the size, and I think I will go right ahead and hit Control+ on my browser, so it's a bit easier to read, and students can do this as well. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just go under my course configuration. What this tab is at the very bottom is, it looks complicated. These are a whole bunch of settings for the course, and hopefully smart decisions have been already made here, so you don't really have to make any changes. Notice there's a bunch of tabs. Each tab has a bunch of different options here. The one I want to go to is this email option, because this is one thing that isn't set up by default. And what this is within WeBWorK, when students are actually working in WeBWorK, on each problem, there's a button at the bottom that says email instructor. And if you want students to be able to email you, then you will want to add your name here down at the bottom. So I'm on the little email tab, and I'm going to add myself here. Not every instructor may want this, okay? But if you want students to be able to send you a note because they think they found a problem, and that can occur because WeBWorK creates randomized problems. Your problems are different for each student, and once in a while, if the problem's not written correctly, you can end up with a student getting a bizarre problem, and you'd like them to be able to email you. And if they do, then this will send you an email at your University of Regina email, and you can click, and it'll even have a link to their version of the problem. So it's a very convenient way to interact with students. So I'm going to just hit my save changes there. But other than that, that's pretty much all I would do under course configuration for now. Now, the next thing I want to show you is, so WeBWorK, you have essentially assignments, and those assignments are made up of problems. And if you have a colleague, say, if you're new to WeBWorK, but maybe your colleague is giving you a whole bunch of problems that they've already curated into assignments, then you would have to upload those into WeBWorK. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to show you later how to make assignments. But for now, I'm just going to show you, well, what would I do if somebody sent me a set of problems, and what would that look like? So this is where this next tab on the left-hand side, this File Manager tab, is useful. This File Manager, this is a space for you to have files on the WeBWorK server that you can upload into and download from. And what I'm imagining as a scenario is that perhaps somebody has sent you some files, and you want to start by uploading them. So files in WeBWorK typically are packaged into something called a TGZ file. And I've got one for all the calculus assignments that I made. So I'm going to just come in here and browse. Now I'm going to browse my home directory here. And somebody has sent me this little zipped file called Math 110 Assignments. I can just select that. And now that it's selected at the bottom here, I can hit upload. And what this is going to do is just unpack this little archive into my file system, my file manager here, my space. So I'm going to hit upload. And now what you'll see is that I've got two new directories here, Math 110 Assignments and Math 110 Problems. Okay, so that's what this space looks like. There's a couple of other things that are here by default. So I should explain, the assignments are made up of problems. The assignments just list different problems, and those have a little def extension, .def, and they usually start with the word set. So there are some demo assignments that come with your WeBWorK, set0.def, set demo.def, set this tutorial.def, and this orientation.def. Those are all assignment files. And they're made up of problems, and those problems are actually here as well. So if anything with a slash after it is a directory, and you can go in here and you can see these lists of PG thing. That means this is the actual code for making these individual problems. So I just navigated into it. If I want to go back up, I can just come up here and click back up, and I'm back to where I was. Okay. Now, this Math 110 assignments here, this is a directory that contains essentially all my assignments for calculus that I used over the previous year. Okay, so somebody might have shared this with you, and then you might want to use them. Okay, so this is your little file space. It does get used if you want to exchange problems with somebody else or whatever. All right, so next, what do we want to do? We want to create our first assignment. So the first thing you have to do is import. If you have assignments like this, if you're not creating them from scratch, but somebody sent them to you, you can go under the homework sets editor. So come up here under homework sets editor on the left, and this takes you to a page where all your homework sets are listed. Now, I don't have any yet. Okay. And once again, there's tabs across the top. And what I want to do is I want to import from that little space where I just uploaded my files into. I want to import a couple of those assignments. So I'm going to hit on the import tab. Okay. And now you have a choice. You could import them one at a time. I'm going to import several. So I'm going to click on multiple sets. And now it's listing all the assignment files that it finds here. So there's a bunch that are by default existing here, but here are the ones that came with my with that archive that I just uploaded. And I'm going to just upload the first two. So if I click on assignment 1.def, if I click on assignment 2.def, it just goes there. So it removes the other one. What you have to do to get more than one is you have to hit the control button and then left click. And that allows you to select more than once. Import set with names. It's just going to use the default names that I've got here. It'll call it assignment 1 and assignment 2. If you imported just a single assignment, then you could give it a new name. The other thing here, it says shift dates so that the earliest is. That's telling me when do I want the first assignment to be dated. So this would have been from a previous semester. And if I select this, I'm going to start it at today, Tuesday the 27th at 12 a.m. And that's going to shift all, actually, maybe I'll make it 9 a.m. I'll just scroll across here. I want it to be open now. And I had them opening at 9 a.m. in the previous semester. So if I hit this and then I say done, then we're ready to import them. Assign this set to which users. Currently, you could hit all users, but the only users that are currently in the system are essentially me and the admins. So I'm just going to hit only Petry 99R, and I'm going to hit take action. All right, and there they are. Assignment 1 and assignment 2. So what I need to do now is make sure that, so first of all, what do you see here? Okay, so you have the opening date. Okay, so this is when the assignment is going to be open. You have the closing date, that's when it's going to end. And so I had it a week later last week, so now it's a week later this week than the time I had before. And notice the later assignments are shift as well, which is very convenient if you import them all at the beginning of the next semester. The answer date, this is when the assignment will open up so that once it closes, after it's closed, answers will be available. You can make it the same time as your close date, or you can have it later if you want, for some reason, to have it at a later time for the answers to be available. Visible, it has to be visible for students to connect from URcourses. I'm only going to make the first assignment visible. So I'm going to click on this little the little pencil there, and I can make some changes here. I'm going to make assignment 2 so it's currently not visible. And I'm going to hit take action. Normally you have to save your changes here, so I'm going to hit take action. And it's changed assignment 2. It's only showing that one selected assignment. If I want to see it all again, I can just always click on the homework sets editor and it'll show all my assignments. So currently only assignment 1 is visible. And I think we are ready to look at getting URcourses ready to connect to this. So let's go to URcourses. So I've got a sample course here, my LaTeX course. Let's zoom in a bit here. I've created a section on my course called Online Assignments. And there's a couple things that we're going to need to do before we create the link. You'll see there's a link already there, but if this was your first time, the one thing you're going to have to do is have a place in your grade book for the grades to be placed into for your assignments. Okay, so in my grade book, I could go in the setup and I'd have to have some place where I intend to have my assignments. I have already created a category called online assignments. And so that's what my assignments are going to feed back into. And once I've got that set up, I can go back to my course here, scroll to my online assignments section. And here is where I would have to add my link to the assignment. Now, I've already turned editing on. So you can see up at the top, I've turned editing on. So once I've done that, I could add an activity or resource. And I would, what we need to add is this one called external tool. Okay, this is what we're going to need to configure to connect to WeBWorK. So I could just click on that. And it's going to give me a new external tool. Okay, I'm going to cancel this one because this is just like those baking shows when they've already done all the work for you. I'm going to cancel it and look at a properly configured link already. So let's cancel this. And here is a properly configured link, which I'm going to hit edit for. Now, this is probably the trickiest part of this initial setup, is making this tool link properly configured with all its little pieces. So this is where you want to look at the documentation and really go through it carefully. I'll go through it right now. So the activity name is assignment 1. This is a name that's only within URcourses. Okay, you could call it something different if you wanted. If you hit show more, you can have a description below it, say on URcourses page. For instance, you might say when it closes or something. Then you have to set these properly, pre-configured tool, automatic based on URL. This is the important link here to my assignment. So it's got the server here, okay, WeBWorK 2. Then it's got my course. So this would be your course name that would go in here. And then finally, you have to have the name of your assignment. So this has to be, this is where it has to be identical to whatever you called your assignment in WeBWorK. So probably case sensitive too. So when you have assignments in WeBWorK, ours was assignment 1, you should have no spaces there. It should just be something like this. Then there's these other ones that you have to open. Privacy, all these have to be selected because the information has to be able to go back and forth between WeBWorK and URcourses. You'll get very strange errors if those are not selected. Grade, I've already got it set up, so it's not allowing me to change it. Typically, you want it to be set up so that the grade in WeBWorK corresponds to your grade out of 100% within URcourses. So that'll just, because a WeBWorK grade might be 9 out of 12 or something. Converting it just to a grade out of 100 is what you want. And here's where that grade category comes in that you had created in your grade book. So that was online assignments, so I have that set. Common module settings, these are, I don't think there's anything we have to configure there. Restrict access, we'll see that this is a very useful thing at a certain point, but I won't do anything with it quite yet. And then tags, there's nothing to do. And then we just would hit save. All right, so I didn't make any changes there, so I'm just going to hit cancel. Notice if you have things set up, this little green check mark. If you don't have this little green check mark, that's probably suggesting it's not seeing it on the server or something. So the green check mark's a good sign that things might be working. All right. So let's, that's one bit of prep I'm going to need to do. Once you have this link ready, it'll be really easy to do the links for future assignments because we can just clone them. We can just clone this link. And from year to year, you'll just have these links already there for you as well. Okay, so let's go back to my course. Back to my section. Now, as an instructor, you will only ever actually log directly into WeBWorK. If I clicked on this right now, I would get an error. And the reason that is, it's for technical reasons. URcourses will automatically be creating accounts on the WeBWorK system. And if I clicked on this link, it would set up an account at a professor level of permissions on the WeBWorK, which is not what we want. We don't want people to be able to potentially connect to your thing and create their own professor accounts. So to be able to use this, we have to have a special fake student that we're going to use to test our links. Okay, so the documentation talks about how to do that. How do you make your own student within URcourses? Essentially, what you end up doing is go under course tools, and I already have a test student. I could modify it. If you haven't ever created a test student, you only ever have to do it once. I think this would say create test student. You could click on that, but there's videos within URcourses that you can use to create that. So I've got that test student already created. Its name in my case is something like my name, Petry, account name, Petry99R-UR student. So assuming you've created that student at some point, you're going to have to add them to your class. So under your participants, you would need to add that student to your class. I've already done it here. You can see it down here at the bottom. But if you hadn't done it, you would just click on enroll users and you would search on your name. And it would, well, it's not finding any new ones because I've got those two already there, but it would probably, it would find your UR student one, and then you could click to enroll that student into your class. All right. So that student can now enter your course. Okay, so once you have that, you can actually connect to the course as your demo student. So let's do that. I'm going to open now. To do that, what you want to do is open a private window. Okay, if you don't open a private window, then your login information from your regular login is going to be mixed up with your demo student login information. So what I'm going to do is go into create a new private window. And then I'm going to go to URcourses. And I'm going to, rather than log in like I normally do, I'm going to log in with other credentials. And my university fake student name is has the little UR student thing. And so notice we don't use the regular login, we use the login with other credentials. And hopefully that worked. Okay, so, and now I'm going to have to find this course. It's listed as an old course there. And here we are, and there we are under online assignments. We see the assignment, that link that I've created. Now, I just want to make sure I'm covering all my everything I wanted to say to you folks. So I'm going to click on this. So now we can actually see WeBWorK in action. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, and it should take me to a new window. All right, so this is my first assignment. And you can, as I clicked on that, actually several things happened in the background. Okay. URcourses has talked to the WeBWorK server and created an account within the WeBWorK for my Petry 99 UR student. And as students click on this link within URcourses, it's going to generate all the accounts on WeBWorK. So you don't have to manage accounts or anything on WeBWorK. It's all being done automatically for you. And that's happened in the background. Also, URcourses has set up a link back now for the marks to go back and forth between WeBWorK into your gradebook for this assignment. So that's also being taken care of you. That's why it's really important that students, they have to click on the links within URcourses because things are happening. If they went directly to the server, somehow they shouldn't be able to log in there anyway, but if they did somehow manage to circumvent clicking on the link, their marks probably wouldn't come back and stuff like that. So they always should be clicking on the links. So I'm going to just show you a couple of the problems here. You can see there's a list of 16 problems for my first assignment. And if I click on the first problem, it's a factoring problem. And well, you may or may not be a math person, but essentially what the student will do is they would click on this here and they can enter the factors here. And that would be t plus 4 times t plus 2. There is, it's actually quite a nice interface WeBWorK does if you, it understands implied multiplication and things like that. There are some, whenever you click on a box in WeBWorK, this little palette on the right-hand side shows up that allows you to do special things like enter absolute value or square root. You can type the words for this and it'll automatically change it. Things like that. You can enter the infinity symbol or the pi symbol, stuff like that. Okay, so the student here sees that they've got several options here. They have, it says they've only attempted it 0 times. You can decide how many attempts they get at the problem. Let's do it wrong to begin with. If I hit submit answers, it'll tell me it's incorrect and that I have only 2 chances left. Okay. If you enter something that's gibberish, so if I entered X here when it clearly should be T, that would also be marked wrong. But that's not the kind of error we really want to check. So students also have a preview my answers button, which will flag when your input is not suitable. So if I hit preview answers here, it says variable X is not defined in this context. And by previewing it, I didn't lose my attempt. Okay, so students should always preview their answers. And then if I hit this, I can preview this. It's saying it's acceptable for entry, but the answer is still wrong. So let's make the answer correct. T plus 4 times t plus 2, hit submit answers. And now it marks it correct. And you can see this little progress bar on the left, and then I've done problem 1 correctly. It's kind of nice. To navigate the problems, you can either go back to the problem list or hit next problem. I'm going to just skip to a couple other problems that you can see, just so you can kind of see what different types of problems. You saw there how you could enter functions and stuff. Here's problem 7. This is a multiple choice graph problem. It says which of the following graphs is a function. Those look small, but you can click on them and zoom in to as much as you want to see. For those of you who know math, the only one that is a function is b. So I'm going to hit b here, and I could preview it in case I was worried about my input. It obviously understands it, and now I'm going to hit submit answers. Now, this is the kind of problem you probably wouldn't want to give the students 3 attempts for. I'm not sure why I'm giving them 3 attempts. That's the default, but you can change that later on. Okay, so that's what a graphing looks like. I'll show you something which requires a bit more sophisticated input. Problem 10 here, find the domain of this function. This requires using sets and set theory. For this one, if you know the math, this would have to require, I think, an interval from negative infinity. Now I can either type inf and it'll automatically enter it, or I could go to my little palette here on the right, negative infinity, comma, 0, close bracket, Then I have a union. I can either hit a U, or I could hit the union symbol over there. And I think if I've done this right, I'd have to have 8 comma infinity. So you can kind of see how sophisticated the WeBWorK entry can be. I'm going to preview it just to see that it makes sense. It does. I'm going to submit it. Hopefully it's right, but maybe it's not. It is correct. Okay. So you're starting to see how, and obviously these could have been put in a different order because it's a union, and WeBWorK would be smart enough to know that's the case. Here's another one of the function. Find the formula of a function. This function shifted left by 6 units and down by 7 units. Once again, I'm not going to explain the math, but this looks like this. Notice to get an exponent here, you could either hit the button over here, or I can use a little caret and it'll take me up there. To get out of the exponent, I can hit a space bar or a tab to take me back down. And I think this would be the answer. It is not the answer. What did I do wrong? Shifting left plus 6 squared. Oh, down 7 units. There we go. All right, there we have it. And maybe one more so you can see the kinds of problems you could create. This is match the graph with the following formulas. And this one, rather than entering the letters, you can actually have a drop-down menu here. That one is A. 1 over x squared is C. F of x equals 4 is that constant function. D. And E. Absolute value is B. And 1 over x is whatever's left, F, I think. And obviously the students are getting randomized versions. The lists are going to be different. Even the functions might be a little different. I'm not sure. Submit my answers, and they're all correct. Okay, so the students doesn't have to work on these all at once. They can log out and they can click on the link again and go back in. As long as the set is still open and they still have some attempts left on the problem, they can keep working on it. Once the problem set closes, they can click on the link again, and the actual solutions for the problems will appear, as well as not the final answers, and in some cases, full-blown solutions. So some problems have full-blown solutions written in detail that explain everything. So those all become available once you make them available. All right, so let's go back to your side of things as an instructor. I'm going to go back so I can show you some of these other buttons here. So I'm going to go back to my course in WeBWorK. Nope, that's not my WeBWorK course. No, hang on, we'll get there. Not that one. Sorry, folks. Let me close that. Here we are. So this is back as the professor back in WeBWorK. You've logged into WeBWorK. I just want to show you a couple things. I'm going to click on the class list editor. This lists all the students that are in your class. And you'll notice if you'd gone in there before, you would have noticed there was no UR student, Petry UR student. That didn't exist. When the student clicked on the link, it created this account. Okay, so this is now, this now exists. I didn't have to create this. And it all happened automatically for me. So I typically don't have to manage anything here. There's also this student progress bar here. If I click on that, I can, as an instructor, I can either click on the student, which would be this one here, or I can click on the assignment to see all the students. And if I click on assignment 1, I can very quickly see how many students are have started working on the problems and how they're doing. So you'll notice this student, there's 100% for a bunch of the problems that they've attempted there. And so this will show you sort of the progress of all the students in your class. All right, so I'm going to go back to the homework sets editor. I'm going to add a, I'm going to look at the second assignment. Okay, I'm going to open this one up. And I can just click the open date. I'm going to just open it up now. That's an option. I'm just going to open it now. And I'm going to save my changes. And I'm going to make it now visible. Okay. Take action. So this would be like a week into your course and you're ready to do your next one. I'm making it visible. Now, the way WeBWorK URcourses works is the account gets created the first time a student clicks on your assignment, and it automatically assigns the student to any sets that are open. Okay, any sets that are visible. So now that my student already exists in WeBWorK, when I want them to be able to do the next assignment, there's something extra I have to do. I have to assign them to this assignment. So I'm going to have to click on here, edit assigned users. And you'll see it's not assigned to the student. Okay, so I'm going to have to assign it. I'm going to assign it to all the users because I don't really care if the administrators are assigned or not. And I'm going to hit save. Okay, so this is an important step. For any assignment after the first, any students have to be assigned to it. If a new student show up in your class, say after your second assignment is instantiated, the default is to assign any new student, not only create their account, but assign them to any visible set. So in this way, students moving in and out of your course at the beginning of the semester is not a problem. But going forward, you always have to assign these sets to all the existing students. I'm going to point out something else here. Sometimes you might have students with accommodations or something, and they need special times or something. You can edit the data for any particular student to give them an exception. Okay, so for instance, if I want this student to not have the default closing date, I could go in here and change that to something else. Okay, so you can do accommodations and stuff in that way. All right, so let's go back to, so assignment 2 is ready to go. It's assigned to all the students. I'd have to go back now to create my link within URcourses. So I, as an instructor, now I don't have to go through all this trouble. All I'm going to have to do is duplicate this existing link. Then I'm going to edit it. And I'll call it assignment 2. And the only thing I really need to change here is it's got obviously a different name in WeBWorK. It's assignment 2, so I have to make that change. All the other stuff should stay the same, and it should just work. Now, one thing I do want to show you at this point is you always want to test your assignments, especially as you're starting with your test student first. But once you get going in the semester, you've got a problem, because if you've created this link, all the other students are going to see it, right? And they might start clicking on this just because they happen to be in your courses before you've got it ready. Okay, so this is where this restrict access can really be useful. You can come in here and you can add a restriction to make it so that only your fake student can get in there. And what I usually do is click on the user profile. I tend to pick, I just use the email address, and this fake student is given an email address that looks like, if I've got it right, it's Petry99R plus, not dash for some reason, at uregina.ca. And now, if any other student, now when I hit save and return to course, any other student will see this is restricted to this student. On the other hand, my WeBWorK student can actually get in there. So not my WeBWorK student, oh, I've been logged out here. Sorry. My other student would still be able to, my fake student can still get it. Okay, so that's, I won't show it, but it would be visible there for my fake student. I could make sure things work. I would have to make sure it's open for that student. All right. And I would have to make it visible. So, but this is visible to that student. Okay, so that's just a trick. Once you know everything's working, you just edit the settings again, come back down here and remove the restriction. and make sure it's visible for everybody, and you're good to go. All right, so let's go back to WeBWorK. And what else did I want to show you? I'm going to show you WeBWorK proper. So assume nobody ever gave you an assignment. How do you create new assignments? Okay, so that's where, once again, I would click on my homework sets editor. There's several ways of doing this, but I would hit the homework sets editor. I'd hit the create tab, and I would give a new assignment a name. I'm going to call it, I don't know, maybe I'll call it assignment temp. All right. I'm going to click new empty set, but you do have some options here. You can duplicate one of the existing assignments. So if you just wanted to modify the existing assignment one, you could duplicate it and then make changes to it if you wanted to. But I'm going to just create a new empty set. So right now I've got an assignment. It's empty. I might want to change the dates, but I haven't even created it yet. So how do we do that? So this is where WeBWorK really shines in some way, especially for things like calculus, because it's got all these existing problems. And so this is what you do is you go to the library browser, and the first thing you have to do is say which assignment you want to add things to. I've already created assignment temp, so I'm going to do that. Click on that here. I could have also created the assignment right here in the library browser. I could have just typed assignment temp here. So that's created. And then what I do is I look through the library for problems. Now, there's something called the open problem. There's various sources for problems, but the big one is the open problem library. And it's categorized by topics. So I'm going to click on single variable calculus. And then there's subsets within that. I'm going to click on differentiation. And then there's sections within that. And I'm going to click on, what was I going to do? Derivatives of polynomials and power functions. Okay. Down here at the bottom, it says there are 263 matching problems. So there's a lot of problems. I have it set to show 20 per page. So I'm going to just hit view problems. And it's going to list the first 20 of them. I'm going to just scroll down to one that I'm interested in and show you what some of the little tabs mean here. Here's a problem that I might want to add here. It's differentiate this function. Notice it's of the type that I had selected. You've got a couple buttons here at the right. So this randomize button, if you click on that, it shows you how the WeBWorK problem might change from student to student. Okay, so some problems have a lot of randomization. Notice it's changing exponents and it's changing coefficients and stuff like that. If you want to try the problem, you can just click the try it button and it's going to open a new window that I can try the problem out. Okay, so I could try the problem out. Notice this one has a solution. This would be something the student could actually see after the event. Okay, so this is a more detailed solution than just the final answer. It's nicely typeset, stuff like that. Okay, I'm just going to close that. I've decided I want that problem, so I'll click add and it's going to add it to the problem set. Okay. This next problem, notice it's got a box around it. That's because there's multiple versions of this problem, and not just randomized, but similar problems like it. And there's an extra button for that. This M says show 4 more like this. So to prevent having just tons and tons of problems like that, I could click on that and it would show me the few other variations to this very similar problem. Okay, so let's add that one too. So now I've got 2 problems in my target set. It says that. Okay. I'm just going to go back up here to the top to show you a couple other sources. This Lethbridge source is a great collection of problems. Lethbridge University has created a whole bunch of problems that use the most modern WeBWorK interfaces. So if you want to see some nicely done problems, these are a good selection. What they've done is typically taken existing problems and upgraded them to the most modern interfaces. And then this template questions, this is a set of problems. If I click on that, this is a set of problems for people creating new problems. If I hit view problems here, Oh, I have to select a set. View problems. What am I doing here? Oh, I have to just click on that. Template questions, view problems. These are just template problems that you can modify, and they show you all the different types of problems like functions or vectors, or down here, if I scroll down, if you wanted to do something with matrices, something with units. These are all just simple example problems that you could modify to create your own problems. So that's very useful. I'll just add one of these for fun. And now I've got 3 problems in my problem set. So I come up here, and this is to go there. I can hit edit target set, and it's going to show my problems in this for this assignment, my temp assignment. There's a couple ways to get there. I went through the library browser, but I could have also gone back to my homework sets editor, and you'll see my assignment temp there, and I could have clicked edit problems to get to this page too. All right, so there are the 3 problems. You have several pieces of information. This is just, once again, when it opens, closes, when it's available, whether it's visible, so I can make those same changes I was making before. Hide hints from students. So some problems have hints. If you don't want the students to ever get hints, you could set that to no. There are different assignment types. I'm not going to change this, but homework is the most basic one. If you want to start doing quizzes and things, you can have much more complicated settings and do sophisticated things. And that goes beyond the scope of what I'm talking about here, but some of it is in the documentation. If I want here, I can list render all, and it will show my 3 problems. And notice here on the left of each problem, it's got the weight. So I typically just make all my problems have the same weight, but you could weight some problems differently if you wanted to. And you also list how many attempts you want. So you can change this as well. When you make changes, make sure you save your changes. Yeah, you can either hit the button up here, or you can hit the button elsewhere at the bottom. There's also a Save Changes button. If you want to reorder your problems, I want to make this problem first. I can slide it up, and it normally renumbers them. If you delete a problem, which you can, it might leave a gap in the numbers, in which case you should hit renumber the problems. And once again, you should hit the Save button when you're done. Okay, so there is my own special set of problems. Okay, some of the other buttons here, once again, the eyeball means you can try it out. Or actually you can, and then this edit problem, this is a special button as well. This is where if you want to modify a problem. So this will kind of go beyond the scope of this, but for instance, I had that little template problem that I want to change into my own. If I hit this little button, it's going to open the actual code for this problem. Now, WeBWorK problems are written in Perl with a whole bunch of advanced libraries that have been written in Perl. And I'm not going to really say how to do this, but essentially you could come in here and make changes to this problem to make it do what you want it to do. And if you chose the appropriate template, you probably make changes here without thinking too hard. Okay, so, but it is a learning curve. Okay, so if you want to make your own problems, pick a good template, and you'll have to create a new version. You can't modify one of the system problems like this, but you can create a new version, and this would be created in your little file space there. All right, so to kind of bring this full circle, I just wanted to show you how we could export our problem. So say you made it your little assignment temp, your temp assignment there, and you want students to be able, a colleague to be able to have access to it. This is where you could go back to the homework sets editor, hit the export tab, and I can choose what I want, export the visible sets or selected sets. I'm going to choose selected sets, and I'm just going to pick my assignment temp, and I'm going to hit take action. And what this is going to do is going to take it out of the database and actually make a little file in my file, my little file space. So I'm going to hit take action. it asks me to confirm which sets to export. Okay, I'll do that. And now I'm going to go to my file manager. And if I did this right, there should be an assignment temp in here. And there it is, set assignment temp. Okay. If I want to download this and send it, somebody can just hit the download button and grab it. It'll allow me to put it on my system. If I've got several things that I want to send to somebody, say I want to send these assignments and something else, essentially what you can do is hit Control-click to click all the things you want. And what you want to do is make one of those little archives like the one I started at the very beginning. So if I hit Make Archive, it has created this little file, Petry 88-test, so the name of the course, .tgz. Okay. I can now download that. I'll just download that to my system here. I'll just hit Save File. Let's put it on my system. And now it's sitting on my computer, and I could email that to somebody else, and they could upload it just like I did at the very beginning of this talk. Okay. And so this is a way you can back up your stuff too. Okay. You can back up, you probably don't want any of the student information. So you don't really need a backup of the whole course. That's probably what this archive, this course will give you. You just want, your assignments that you exported and any problems that you created. So any problems you create, like if I edited one of those problems, by default, it'll put it in a little directory called local, but you can put them in other places, and that would be something else you might want to export. So for instance, when I created my assignments and started modifying problems, I created a folder called Math 110 Problems to put them into, and then I exported that. Okay, I'm just going to look at we're almost done here. I just want to look at the, what else didn't I show you here? Okay. On the left, scoring tools. What is that? Scoring tools is probably something you won't need because you're going to be using your URcourses gradebook, and the work that the students are doing, those grades are going back into your gradebook. Okay, but say you, for some reason, wanted the original marks, right? You can actually download the grades for each of the students in CSV files. Okay, so I could click assignment temp and export it to a CSV file. That would go into my file area, and I could download that. Okay, so if you're somebody who wants to manage your marks by hand, that would be something you could do. And I think that is, what else did I not show you here? I think, oh, email. Okay. As students get their courses created, the idea of WeBWorK originally was to be completely standalone. It had nothing to do with URcourses. If you were in URcourses, if you wanted to email students, you'd email them within URcourses. But technically, you could email them here, and there's kind of a sophisticated way of making template emails that you could send to everybody in your class. But typically, you would probably never use the email button for your course. All right. So I think that's all I had to say, and I think my hour is pretty much up. I guess I would say future-wise, with regard to WeBWorK, there is a new version called WeBWorK 3 coming out that is going to have a more sophisticated interface for the front end. Also, we haven't got it configured here, but it is possible to have WeBWorK problems individually being used within a standard URcourses type quiz. That could be configured. That would require talking between our IT folks and our URcourses people to configure that. Right now, the only way WeBWorK gets used is in this way, where essentially there's just kind of this little wrapper that directs students to either an assignment or their course. Oh, I should say, so I used assignment mode here. That's where each assignment had its own link and had its own gradebook entry. If you use course mode, in that case, you only have a single link, which for the entire course within URcourses that takes you to WeBWorK. And that would be the case if you, for instance, did not want to use the gradebook extensively for individual assignments. If you really want to use CSV files and stuff like that, then you might want to use the course mode and just have a single link set up. And oh, one thing about grades, the servers have to talk to each other, and they don't talk to each other instantly. So it typically might take, if a student just finishes their assignment, the grades might not be updated in URcourses for like an hour or so. Okay, they don't constantly directly upgrade. So sometimes a student might complain and say, oh, how come my grade is still showing 60%, but I got 100% within WeBWorK? Just give it time, and eventually the grades will migrate over into URcourses and be consistent. Okay, so I don't know, any questions from any of the people here? I'm going to stop my share maybe. Any questions? I'll look at my chat. Looks like. So this has been recorded. So if you showed up late, you might want to pick up the recording. I'm assuming Isaac is going to share. Did you already stop recording, Isaac?